Be sure to support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/theprogressivevoice. Link is down below in the description. Get premium content and support the show. Now, this is interesting. So, Bernie and Biden have been getting into a bit of a back and forth in a fight because Bernie Sanders has been telling Joe Biden, or he's been, going after Joe Biden. He's also been telling him this on the debate stage, that essentially, you voted for the Iraq War, therefore you are going to be a poor choice of a candidate against Donald Trump. We need someone like myself, that being Bernie Sanders, who didn't vote for the Iraq War, so that they know that they have a good choice that they've, picked. Someone with a real record behind them, and they're not picking a stooge. Now, Joe Biden claimed so hard that he didn't support the war in the first place that the New York Times wrote a piece debunking him for this. All right? And so I'm at the point where I think that Joe Biden legitimately doesn't remember. He's probably Alzheimer's/dementia for sure. So he probably doesn't even remember, honestly. But John Kerry came out in his defense. Kerry defends Biden on Iraq War, says Bush administration broke their word. So it says, former Secretary of State John Kerry defended former President Bush, or Vice President Biden, over the Iraq War, saying that the Bush administration broke their word with respect to how they would proceed in Iraq. Quote, "The fact is that we were promised by a president, by an administration, that they were going to do it as a last resort after exhausting diplomacy, that if they have to go to war, it would be with the coalition that they built broadly, and that they would do it only in conjunction with our allies. It didn't have to happen. It was a war of choice. It was a mistake to have trusted them, I guess, and we paid a high price for it, but that was not voting for the war?" What? This is insanity. So, are you kidding me? Says, "I think he knows full well, as a lot of other people do, that there was a difference in people who felt they needed to give the president the leverage to be able to get Saddam Hussein back to the table without having to go to war, and that vote was unfortunately structured in a way that it was a sort of either or, but that didn't mean you were in favor when the administration made the decision of actually going to war." This to me sounds like some, I don't know if the, George Orwell doublespeak is here, it works here, I don't know, honestly, I could be using that wrong, but you voted for the war. There's no such thing as, and the either or is funny because John Kerry in 2004 is basically this massive pancaker and flip-flopper, and that's why he lost in 2004. He could never decide what the fuck he believed in, okay? He'd always flip-flop left and right. And so there is no, either or of, we didn't support his actual decision of going to war. We actually just wanted to pass it so that we wanted to give him congressional authorization because then it would bring Saddam to the table. What insanity is that? You voted for the war, and there's a video here we can check out from Joe Biden.
Some of my own party have said that it was a mistake to go to Iraq in the first place and believe that it's not worth the cost, whatever benefit may flow from our engagement in Iraq. But the cost of not acting against Saddam, I think, would have been much greater. And so is the cost, and so will be the cost, of not finishing this job. The President of the United States is a bold leader, and he is popular. The stakes are high, and the need for leadership is great. I wish he'd use some of his stored-up popularity to make what I admit is not a very popular case. But I and many others will support him when he makes the case. Some of my own party
So as you guys see there, he literally says that he supports going into Iraq. And he says, the Democratic dissenters of the war in Iraq, I supported going into Iraq. That's literally what he's saying right there. So the whole thing is debunked by Biden's words himself here. Now, this is just, again, what seems to me to be this weird double speak of oh no, he didn't really vote for the war. This is so unbelievably insane, okay? Bernie voted against the war. Joe Biden voted in favor of it. And that is that. And Joe Biden is lying so hard that the New York Times, which is a, laughably corporate, entity, called him out for it. So John Kerry loses a lot of points in my book, man. I was kind of leaning towards him a little bit more. But now, not a good look for you, John. What are you doing? Why are you out to ruin your own, credibility? That's what I don't understand. If you wanted to, invigorate your credibility or whatever, you would not be doing this.